Book of Acts chapter 18. Following these events, Paul left Athens and arrived in Corinth. There, he met a Jewish couple named Aquila, who had recently come from Italy because Emperor Claudius had ordered all Jews to leave Rome. Paul stayed and worked with them since they shared the same trade. They were tentmakers by profession. Paul engaged in discussions at the synagogue every Sabbath, attempting to persuade both Jews and Greeks. When Silas and Timothy arrived from Macedonia, Paul was moved by the Spirit and testified to the Jews that Jesus was the Christ. However, when they opposed him and blasphemed, he shook his garments and told them, "Your blood be on your own heads, I am clean from now on. I will go to the Gentiles." Departing from there, he entered the house of a man named Justus, a devout worshipper of God, whose residence was next to the synagogue. Crispus, the chief ruler of the synagogue, believed in the Lord, along with his entire household. Many Corinthians also heard the message, believed, and were baptized. The Lord spoke to Paul in a vision at night, saying, "Do not be afraid, but speak and do not keep silent, for I am with you, and no one will attack you to harm you, for I have many people in this city." So Paul remained there for a year and 6 months, teaching the word of God among them. When Gallio was the proconsul of Achaia, the Jews united against Paul and brought him before the judgment seat, accusing him of persuading people to worship God in violation of the law. Just as Paul was about to speak, Gallio said to the Jews, "If it were a matter of wrongdoing or wicked crime, O Jews, I would have reason to accept your complaint. But since it is a matter of questions about words and names and your own law, see to it yourselves, I do not wish to be a judge of such matters." With that, he drove them away from the judgment seat. Then all the Greeks seized Sosthenes, the ruler of the synagogue, and beat him in front of the judgment seat. Gallio paid no attention to any of these things. After staying in Corinth for a while longer, Paul took leave of the brothers and sailed to Syria, accompanied by Priscilla and Aquila. Before departing, he had his hair cut at Cenchrea because of a vow he had taken. Upon arriving in Ephesus, he left them there but entered the synagogue and engaged in discussions with the Jews. When they asked him to stay longer, he declined but promised to return if it was God's will. Then he sailed from Ephesus. Upon reaching Caesarea and going up to greet the church, Paul traveled down to Antioch. After spending some time there, he departed and systematically visited the regions of Galatia and Phrygia, strengthening all the disciples. A Jew named Apollos, originally from Alexandria and known for his eloquence and profound knowledge of the Scriptures, arrived in Ephesus. He had been instructed in the way of the Lord and, with great enthusiasm, taught accurately about Jesus, but he knew only the baptism of John. Aquila and Priscilla heard him speak in the synagogue, so they took him aside and explained the way of God more accurately. When Apollos decided to go to Achaia, the brothers encouraged him and wrote to the disciples there to welcome him. He greatly helped those who had believed through grace, powerfully refuting the Jews in public, demonstrating by the Scriptures that Jesus was the Christ.